Welcome back to the seventh grade mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about home defense, protecting your domicile, preventing anyone or anything from getting in that you don't want getting in. We chose to focus on this topic because 2020 has been a motherfucker of a year. Okay, we're not going to go into the greatest hits of 2020. We're going to save that for the end of the year. What I will say is that it's been hella dangerous, hella risky, hella shady, and you have seen the lowest common denominator of human behavior this year alone. Therefore, I think it's good to give the audience a primer on how to defend your house. There are probably many of you out there that do not own a firearm, but you do have other weapons in your house that you may not even consider a weapon. So, first, we're going to begin by discussing the outermost reaches of your property, the perimeter. And when you look at the perimeter of your house or your apartment or your trailer home, you want to look and see where an enemy, where they can get in. And I'm not talking about the actual house or property itself. I'm talking about roads. I'm talking about nature trails. I'm talking about woods behind your house or behind your apartment. You need to look
Even
all
interstate
around you.
access. Look,
Yes.
like look for interstate access, so how people can get in and get out real quick. That's a prime thing that people don't recognize as a access point. Excuse me, because what happens is somebody can walk in, grab your mail, jump around on interstate. You ain't got a clue. It doesn't matter if you got cameras or not. So these access points are important.
All right. So one thing to consider getting is a drone. A drone is a wonderful tool that can be used to scope out your own area, to like eliminate blind spots that you may not see yourself because you are on the ground and perhaps you're not willing to get up onto the rooftop to get a better view of your surrounding area. Therefore, a
It's another
drone,
point of view that you might not recognize.
correct,
It's
a
a point of
bird's eye
view
view,
that
a
you might not
bird's eye
consider.
view. And
You,
that bird's eye view with the drone gives you a full scope of how people can get into and out of your area quickly. How somebody who may break into your home may get away quickly using a route you may not have seen. There may be a trail that leads to your back door. You don't even know it because you never go that route. But you get that drone up in the air about 50 to 100 feet and you can see everything. So that's something to consider, number one, that you can purchase. And actually, drones are very cheap now. You can get a drone for under $100, but I recommend spending at least anywhere from $250 to like $300 for a low-level drone because then what you're getting with that drone is a camera that's decent enough that can record to a micro SD card to give you sufficient images to pass a good judgment call on what you need to modify or what you need to be aware of regarding the perimeter of your property. So, also in the perimeter of your property, not should you should only you should consider the escape routes for you and your family also. How can I get the hell out of here if I have to? Can I get out of here on foot? Okay, if my driveway is blocked, can I use a four-wheeler to get out through the woods, through an alley? Is there another way I can get out of here on foot or on bicycle or on a four-wheeler or however necessary, but to get you and your family or your loved ones out of that place? So you need to consider egress, how to escape, how to get out of there, exit your home if it becomes compromised in any way. Because there's a lot of scenarios that we are facing this year with the fires that could be caused by an uprising or fires that can be caused by nature, or if your home becomes flooded and ravaging scavengers come by looking for food or looking for a good time that they want out of
what
your
he's
body.
saying, what my brother is saying, he's not. You're not just defending yourself from the normal thing, from people breaking in, criminals, thieves. There's other things you need to defend yourself from. Everything from you got rioters right now. You got to defend yourself from that. You got to defend yourself from animals. You might have a bunch of raccoons raiding the shit.
You
You have to
may have
defend
people
yourself.
you have made people with race based intentions who may want to just
Yeah,
go and round up people of your color or your chosen race.
or even intimidate you. Like, see, you got to understand that not everything. is a straight up fist fight. This thing's just making you feel uncomfortable in your own home. That's you got to defend yourself from that. I'll give an example. People love to put up, political signs. Sometimes people put up that Trump shit to offend you. They're not even voting for Trump. They're just doing it so that you feel uncomfortable. Like, yeah, keep that nigger in his place. So that's the kind of shit we're talking about. So not every threat is just a normal, hey, I'm gonna rob you thing, or I'm gonna kick the window in and take something. There's other things or other things you got to consider when you talk about home defense. You're really also defending your sanity, just not your physical being. Excuse me. Go ahead, sir.
So there's other things to consider also is visibility. Is there a tree blocking the view to your front porch? Is there a tree or a obstacle of some type or a wall that somebody can hide up behind and fire at you or spy at you from? You have to consider like all these things because you want to employ the art of war in this situation. And by doing so, you're using the landscape to your advantage and to your enemy's disadvantage. Is your home at an elevated angle? Can you see down below into all the movements approaching your property? You want to consider all these things. You want to consider placing a sign that says "Do not, no trespassing." A no trespassing sign is a good psychological deterrent for low level criminals because what it's going to do is it puts a scare into their head thinking, all right, this person may be armed. They may have aggressive animals that they'll sick on me, or have attacked me if I try to, invade their property. So posting a sign that says no trespassing or no trespassing and private property. These two signs go a long way from deterring just the lowest level, most timid criminal. So,
Oh, don't forget the good old fashioned beware of dog sign. Don't forget the basic
yes.
stuff. Yeah. Another thing that you got to think about, like say you're purchasing a surveillance system, not just a straight up security system, but just cameras. And nowadays you can look at your cameras anywhere in the world with all the Wi-Fi stuff you got going. But sometimes you got to look at your pinch points. You got to look at your point of view that when you look out your window, you can't see. Or when you're coming home and I'm walking up the porch, I put a camera behind a bush. It's a limited area. Only thing I ever caught was rabbits. But that's a spot where when I'm walking up to the crib, I there's a chance that somebody could be hiding there and waiting for me. So that's the kind of stuff you got to think about.
Also,
Other thing is,
also, hold on. Also, what I want you to consider is the fact that technology may fail. You may have a power outage where you cannot use electronics, where you cannot use cameras. So I want you to think first on a very primal level. I want you to think first as how can I do this without technology? Then begin, thinking about, employing cameras and, microphones and things like that. Because then what you have is an added layer of protection with the cameras. Because then with the cameras, you can also have motion detection lights that come on when
yes.
there's any movement around your home. But let's go low tech again. Let's talk about man's best friend,
Whoa, so,
dogs.
so before you leave, no, slow down before you leave that. Like in that case, there's many cases where people should remove bushes. You should remove the obstacles too.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, before you, I know what you're saying. I agree with you. But let's pause. There are physical things that you know what I need to remove these bushes altogether. They're cute. Or how about replace them with flowers? Things like that. It still enhances your yard, but it still makes it when you pull up in your vehicle. I got a clear view of everything. You always watch the
Nobody is
first
hiding the
28.
bushes about to
See,
jump out and blast you in the
yes,
face.
yeah. Another thing that sounds corny. Um, a friend of mine who is he's literally a sniper. What he has a garden gnomes and he has flowers. He has stuff in his yard. That first garden gnome is 50 yards. He knows how to shoot you. The second garden gnome is 100 yards. He literally has. It, you don't realize what he
That
was
is
doing.
awesome.
What he's doing is that if he has a few acres, and this is more so when you have larger, but if you practice shooting, he has it set up to where he knows right away how far away you
That
are.
some bitch is two guard
He's doing
gnomes
that.
away. He's
Yeah,
dead.
yes. Stuff like people don't always recognize what you have going on, and that you're setting your property up for your safety and your ability set. If I don't want you to have to shoot somebody, but if it does come up, you know that you're only good for. Look, I'll be honest. I'm good for 30 feet. I'm good for maybe 10 yards. Depending on the weapon I'm using. So that as a threat poses itself. So say that you have some people in white masks or hoods, and they're coming on your property. I'm like, look, bro, stay on the sidewalk. But as soon as they hit my property, I know I can hit three of them real easy. That's a bad thing to say, I know. Now back to what my brother was talking about, man's best friend.
Now, dogs. Hold on. Now,
Yeah,
see, now we're talking about dogs. Okay. There's inside dogs and there's outside dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, you need an outside dog. And here's why. An outside dog is off the rip tougher than an inside dog because he is used to sleeping outdoors. Okay, and listen,
and
listen.
slow down.
Wait, 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 wait,
My
wait,
friend,
wait, wait. Hold on, dog lover. We're gonna get to that shit in a second, man. The
no,
thing
I
is,
wasn't going there. I was explaining your terminology. People don't understand your terminology. Inside dog and outside dog is a black term, and I didn't realize that until you start. But what my friend is referring to is certain dogs occupy outside space. The bigger dogs. I'm not saying you don't bring them in. I'm not saying that they're not housebroken. I'm saying that there's certain dogs that you expect to be outside. And then you got certain dogs you expect to be. You're talking about lap dogs. You're talking about smaller dogs, or the indoor dogs, poodles. So that is actually a black term. That's a hood term. When you say indoor dog, outdoor dog, a lot of people don't know what you mean.
no.
So
But see, hold on. I got to clarify further because there's outdoor dogs that people that like to take inside, like Great Danes and shit. The thing is, what I'm saying is like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm not talking about just a dog that's built for being outdoors. I'm talking about a dog that you purposely keep outdoors. Now, listen, you care for this dog. You give him a good home, a place to sleep at outside. You feed him well. You play with him. You walk the dog. You do all that. But this dog must understand that he is a sentinel. This dog is a sentinel. This dog has a job in its life, and that's to protect the home.
yes,
Now,
yes. He's
there,
perimeter.
yes,
His job is perimeter.
there are certain breeds of dogs that are excellent for this task. Okay, and these dogs, you maybe shouldn't have them around your children, but it understands it has to protect the children because it has to protect the house. Now, if you look at the Akita Japanese dog, this dog was bred in cruelty. It's sad but true. Any dog that whimpered a little bit was killed. So this bred the strongest, most resilient dogs of that bloodline. So these are samurai dogs. These dogs were used by samurais in feudal Japan. So the thing is you want a dog that is strong, resilient, and has sentinel type of qualities. Okay, there's so many different dogs. I mean, listen, we can go on for days. That's a whole different show talking about just dogs. What I'm saying is that you need a dog that will protect the house. Now, pay attention to this dog. Pay attention to the way he barks. Listen to its voice because the way it growls, the way it barks, but dogs bark in different timbres, different tones, different
Yeah,
levels.
yeah. Different barks mean different things. That deep bark means somebody's violating, and the one bark means that somebody over here or it's another dog. You can tell by your dog's bark. Like, okay, I need to pay attention to this.
He's
Like, are
telling
they
you,
just
he's
barking like
telling you,
kids in the
hey,
alley? Yeah.
hey, it's a motherfucker over here trying to get in. Get out here.
There are different barks for different situations, and that just. But it's the same thing with anything. You got to observe. But what we're talking about is that that this dog has one purpose, or he or she has more than one job, but they know what their job is. That's what we mean by outdoor dog. You got like people that own junkyards. Remember the term junkyard dog,
Yep.
or even people that have car lots. They have two dogs. They usually have like a Key or a German Shepherd, or they might have a couple pits, a couple Rottweilers out there. Now those dogs are friendly when the gate is open. When that gate's closed and somebody appears on that property when they're not supposed to be, there's a different thing. A good friend of mine, the guy with the bow ties, he bought a dog for me, and her name was Mocha. And Mocha was crazy. Mocha knew that nobody was allowed at the house after 8 o'clock. I don't know how this dog knew how to tell time, but like with his current wife, but his fiance at the time, one time somebody came to visit because he was out of town, and the dog knew the person, but the dog knew like, okay, the head guy's gone, I'm in charge now, and no, you cannot come in. She wouldn't let the dude. He came to do some work. He was a contractor. but it was 8 o'clock at night, and she said, like, "Nope, you can't come here." And like I said, at the time, the fiance could not control that dog, not because the dog was uncontrollable, it's because that dog felt that she was number two, and like, nah. When number one ain't here, ain't shit going down. I had the same thing with a couple pits. I had people that had to come to do work and do some work at a pit and American Bulldog, and they had to come do work. But my dogs knew their primary function was to protect my mom. And one time I was dating a chick that was a school teacher. They knew their job was to protect her. So a guy came to do work, and the dogs were loose in the house, and they wouldn't. She calls me. They won't let me put them away. I said, "Is such and such there?" She said, "Yeah." I said, They're not going to allow you to put them away. All you gotta do is put them on a chain, and they'll walk with you. But as long as he's in the house working, installing those ceiling fans, they're not going to allow you because he's a threat. One of the things that you want to train into your dog when it comes to this self defense is threat assessment. It sounds like something corny, but I taught my dogs about guns by using, like, I took them to a car wash and used a spray washer. So when they saw guns, they recognized that as a gun. My dogs didn't care for police officers. What it is not that I'm training some kind of savage animal. No, I'm teaching my dogs levels of threat. So one of the things that you want to instill in your dog, especially a protection dog or an outside dog, as my friend put it, is that they need to be able to do threat assessment. One thing, like my current dog is down there with my mom right now in Tennessee. One thing that she does that I didn't recognize was that I had a bunch of people come over, and she was cool with everybody, but there was two dudes that were taller than me. She went after them because she saw them as a threat. She saw them as, okay, they bigger than my master. They're bigger than my number one. He might need help with them. So they literally she just snipped at him. Jumped in the chain. I'm like, oh shit! And I realized you guys are taller than me. So right now, my mom's having the same problem. One of the guys that walks down the street, he's much bigger than my mom, and she goes off. I'm like, Mom's, because that guy's bigger than you. She sees that man as a threat that he could injure you. So she's keeping him at bay. So there's no chance that he could ever, And so that's something that you think is like you might actually try to get it out your dog. You might, oh no, don't let him around. No, what they're doing is assessing the threat, recognizing who's a threat. They also recognize what behavior is behavior that you don't want around you. So your dog is actually, when he says sentinel, your dog has a purpose. It's not just to intimidate people, but it's also to, like, one thing they train when you have, like, I had a friend that had a retired canine, and he taught the dog how to do perimeter. So when they would come home, the dog would come out, greet them, then run around the house. And like one time they had a garbage can knocked over, and the dog was going nuts. But what the dog was doing was alerting them to something was different. The wind might not do it over. That dog was alerting them. Same thing. If a window had been open, that dog would do a perimeter and show you, like, hey, there's an open window right here that wasn't there before, and shit like that. That sounds so corny, but it lets you
That's
know that you're not
communication.
walking into
That's
an
this. Listen,
unconventional structure.
don't be so
Yes, yes,
thick-headed. Don't be so thick-headed that you cannot communicate with your animals, because your animals will tell you what is going on. Do not be so cut off that you cannot see the obvious. This creature that can't use words is trying to use its body and its mouth to tell you, "Hey, there is something wrong. We're in danger." So, okay, so now that's enough for animals right now. Now we're closer to the house. All right? We're talking about the front door, the back door, and the windows. Front door. Okay. With your front door, we're now in the age where many people are getting doorbell cameras. Now, they're excellent because they are catching people that were stealing packages off the front porch from many people's homes. These cameras, you can even operate from an app on your phone while you're at work. You don't have to be in the home to actually see the video feed. Tremendous. So you have this camera that's running, and you get a time lapse of people walking up into your front door. Now, this is great. This can actually tell you if somebody is waiting for you at your front door. Now, the doorbell cameras mostly have one angle, but consider putting other cameras up around your property to see your house from the view of your car driving into the driveway, because that'll tell you before you even get on the block if there's somebody waiting for you in the bushes or at your house, or some angry bold motherfucker with a shotgun standing on your porch, or fighting with your wife in your front yard. So these are all things you can check right before you get to the crib. Now, the front door, the locks on the front door. The reason why I think you should have old analog bolts on the door is because, number one, entry and exit is easy. But at the same time, it's also a deterrent. There are these props that you can put up against the door. It looks like a kickstand from a bicycle. And
Yeah, I got one. I got a couple white ones. They're made
right.
by Master Lock,
Yeah, so
and
so
yeah,
basically so basically what it does is if all the other stuff fails, if somebody is trying to kick in the front door, they still have this one last leg they have to kick through, which is actually a fighting against physics because they're kicking against a fixed angle that's held up by the floor. So it's going to be hella hard for them to kick in that front door unless they have a battering ram. Then it's, a rap ski.
okay, okay, slow down. Right now, we're talking like to single women. Like if you're a woman, just put even if you're inside and you're asleep, just putting that against the door. Somebody trying to enter, that gives you at least a heads up. That gives you an extra 30, 40 seconds to either call the police, go hide, or go acquire a weapon.
Or
Just
even
single
just
things like
wake up,
that.
or even wake up. That extra 30 seconds will allow you to hear that, okay, it might shake you out of your sleep. Somebody's struggling to get through that door. So by putting that
Yeah,
wedge
somebody,
against the
yeah,
door,
yes.
what we're talking about is a wedge that goes underneath the door handle and connects to the floor. All right, so by putting this wedge up against the door, it buys you some extra time to wake up out of your sleep and react accordingly. But again, we're dealing with
Now,
the front door.
on,
We're dealing with
hold
the
it.
front door.
Yeah, we're not done with that. Like, if you grew up in the hood, one of the things that I learned from a couple single women older, like aunts and aunties, they would tell you like, okay, get a standard screwdriver and jam it in between the door seal and the door. That will act as the same thing. What that is you have a regular lock, but when you just jam it in there, that person has a hell of a time trying to kick it in. Same thing. What you're doing is buying time. Now you got both your front door and your back door secure. You got some crazy boyfriend drunk coming back, and he's kicking in the door. Even if he has a key, he will not be able to open that door because you wedged that screwdriver in there. So that means that somebody that at one point in time was a friend now is no longer a friend. They can't get in. So I learned that from a single female. Let's just call her Mocha. Mocha taught me that a long time ago. Like, hey, Ren, do this. What we're talking about doing are these simple things that can buy you time. Same thing if you have like a window air conditioner. That is an open point. I know a lot of people live in the hood. If you got a window air conditioner, I do the same thing with the window above it. I jam a screwdriver in there. I jam a long board at an angle. So if that means that somebody actually knocks out your air conditioner, they still can't open your window because that is an access point. That's something that you learned in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. That if you knock that air conditioner down, you can actually step on it, jump right into somebody's house, steal some things to come out. So what you're doing is that, okay, I got this window air conditioner. It should be at least 10, 15 feet off the ground. It shouldn't be on something that's 6 or 7 feet down where somebody can just knock it down and climb in. So those are the things that you need to be observant about. Like, okay, you know what? I need this, but it should be on my second floor. This should not be on the main level because this is an access point. Um, Same thing when you go out of town, I go through and wedge those screwdrivers in each window. So that means if somebody comes in, or somebody tries to get in when I'm not there, they won't be able to open it. Basement windows, depending what kind of basement you have, that's also something that you need to worry about. Are the windows on the ground level? How do I secure them? I did get robbed one time. I went out of town and somebody kicked in my back door. The way they actually kicked it off the frame. There's nothing I could have done. I had two deadbolts on, and actually I had a padlock on the bottom portion. I used my front door as access. It's happened to me before. So you can reinforce it, but if somebody's determined, or especially when they have time, because when you're out of town, they have time, and that's something that we spoke about on the last podcast. Don't broadcast your location. I get it. You're in the Bahamas. Save those pictures to post on Facebook when you get back. Okay, I know it's hard for you. Like, hey, we live in such a La Vida Loca crazy life, and we want, hey, what's the suggestion to eat at in Mexico? No, chill with that shit. When
Okay,
you get
so
back in, all the pictures.
all right, so check it out. So now let's talk a little bit more about the front door in particular. Now, I once knew a woman, she kept a baseball bat right next to the front door, and she was not a baseball fan. I chuckled every time I looked down and saw that baseball bat every time I came in. So, what you may want to do by the door is put a umbrella holder where you have several umbrellas, taller umbrellas, and stuff that can like camouflage that baseball bat that is inside that umbrella holder, just in case you got to crack a motherfucker's head that's trying to get past the security chain on the door. Another thing you can do above the door is to go to Home Depot and get a L bracket that's curved and drill it into the above the door frame and paint it white or whatever the matching color is, and get a can of mace and paint it the
Mm.
same color as the wall and put it right there in that L bracket right above the door. Just in case that person is trying to bust in, you just reach up and just, give them a nice binocular blast in the eyes, and they're going to back off. That's one thing. There's two things you can do, actually.
Well, again, with the whole bat thing, based on a woman's strength, you might. It sounds bad, but make sure you got a couple spikes on the end of that bat. One problem with a bat is you got to swing it. So sometimes guys, a larger person can actually get it from a woman. You might want to put a couple spikes on the end of that motherfucker. So that way, if he or she tries to grab it, they're gonna walk away with a messed up side. So, that sounds
And
vicious. That
and
sounds
and
bad.
you got the mace above the door as a backup. So that's a
Yes,
non-lethal weapon you can
yes,
use.
yes. That's what I was about to say. You need two things by that door, and it is important to camouflage it for not for the reasons you think, not because to keep it away from kids, but also people behave differently when they don't realize that you have a weapon.
There you
You know,
go.
they're when they think that you aren't prepared, they don't disguise their intent. They let you know exactly where they're coming from, and that's what's important. You're not hiding it to keep it from people. Is you're hiding it because when people see you have a weapon, they can reassess like, oh no, oh hey, hi Monica, sorry I was just coming by. This, but if they don't think that you can handle them, or if they don't see you as a threat, they'll say, oh man, girl, shit, I've been trying to get at you for years, man, you need to give up that pussy. So when they don't think that you can protect yourself, they're going to show you a whole different side of them. It's the same thing with politics. You know, a lot of people are, I'm racist, I'm your friend, I'm liberal, but then Trump got in there, man, these fucking lazy ass niggas. You
Okay.
you when you know somebody's intent, you know how to deal with them, and you can assess the situation
All right.
correctly.
So
So
check it out.
say,
The back door. Now the back door, you need to go to your back door and look out the back door. All right. And imagine escape scenarios where you have to run out of that door or creep out of that door. Or maybe you are being fired upon from somebody in the rear of that location. So can you get out of that door without being shot from somebody that's at a higher level, at an angle? And somebody has, like, the angular advantage. You have to consider these things. You have to consider, how can I get out of here through this back door? The next thing I want you to consider is windows. Okay? Ground floor windows need curtains. And the reason why is because you have to be able to
mm-hmm.
conceal and maintain privacy on that ground level, because you will be an open book for anybody who's stalking you, who is wanting to rob you. I'll tell you a story. When 2005, 2006, when LED TVs were a big thing, everybody in the hood knew when somebody had an LED TV, because
Oh,
there was because the screens were calibrated to 5,000 degrees Kelvin, which is a sunlight blue color. And so you walk past somebody's house on the street and you see this blue light coming from behind the curtains. So you want blackout curtains, or like curtains that go beyond the window to conceal what you have in the house. That means your person, your company that you're keeping, or your private goods. The things that you don't want
okay.
stolen from you.
Again, what Roscoe is talking about is there's a black term. People don't even know what you got. They're not talking about bragging. What they're talking about, people don't. A thief will not rob a place if he don't think there's nothing in there. But if he sees that big flat screen, he knows like, okay, when they go out of town, that's my opportunity. On the same token, when he's talking about personal safety for women, men too. But if your windows are open at night and people can see it, when you got the lights on inside and it's dark outside, somebody could be 5 feet away from you, from your window, and they can see what you're doing, and you can't see what they're doing. They could be studying your habits. They could be finding out your sleep patterns. They can find out all this kind of stuff, and then come back, rape you, rob you, or whatever, or worse, kill you, and take your shit. So these curtains are important to close or whatever to keep your routine a secret, because that's a big deal. Last podcast we were talking about like smartwatches, and they monitor your sleep. They do all these convenient things. But can you imagine if somebody had access to when you were asleep, and they oh fuck it, I know to break in because they're asleep, or I know to break in because they're not home, because the watch is on
The
Facebook
watch is
saying
the
that you
watch
he,
is telling you that your heart rate has slowed down so far. Your breathing has slowed down so far. This person is in REM sleep right now.
yes, yes. So like I said, these things that are convenient are also making you weak. And I shouldn't, the word ain't weak. The word is more careless. These things are making you careless to what's going on around you. And look, like I said, what we're trying to say is recognize that somebody else could be using this information for a negative purpose, watching you, etc., stalking your ex. Like, okay, I see she's with a new guy, and all of a sudden he done killed you because he got jealous. So we're talking about like disguising your patterns, disguising what you're doing, so people don't. If you go jogging or walking, take a different way every day. Don't take the same way every day because people don't know if you're a single woman. She jogs at 6 in the morning. At 6:37, she's going to be at 72nd in work. I if you're going to jog, take a different route. Even when you drive home, even when you leave going to work, take a different route because just in case somebody's following you, just because what happens is say you take the same route and somebody wants to hurt you, they can wait in an alley, and when you pass it, they know what time when you pass that alley, they can just follow. So they're not even following you the entire time. So you won't recognize somebody following you because they might just jump in the last 2-3 blocks for you to the crib, ram your car, take what they want, excuse me, and go on about their business. That's why um, being inconsistent should be your consistency. Having a different way of doing things every day, so they can't so somebody can't break down your pattern. We're talking about we're talking about home defense, self defense. We're talking about different kinds of defense, and this is what the broadcast is about. There's other things to consider when buying a car. There's other things to consider when purchasing a home.
Okay.
There's other things to consider.
Okay. All right. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. All right. Let's talk about combat inside the home.
Oh,
Hey, where we going in? We got no, 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 no. Put your helmet on,
I know, I
son. We
know.
going in now. Listen. So listen. Now we are talking about the point where intruders have broken in. You have been invaded, and now you have to defend, nullify, and escape if necessary. So the situation is powerful invaders have invaded the home. These guys are big and they're strong and they're dangerous and they have weapons. What can you do? All right, so first we're going to start with long range. Then we're going to talk about mid range, and then we're talking about CQB, close quarter combat, CQB. Now, long range. So you're awake now. You have made eye contact with these people. You are in the living room. They are approaching you. So, long range, these people are at least 10 feet or further from you. All right? At this point, you need a weapon that you can either reach them from that distance or close the distance and knock them down. So, let's talk about a couple. Let's talk about guns first. All right? Let's talk about guns. I tell you what, let me back up a little bit, y'all. We're playing a video game right now, okay? And it's an old school game that comes to mind, Contra. All right, Contra was this video game where it was two dudes with machine guns, these crazy laser weapons, and they were running through this like maze, and they were like trying to break into a fortress and like kill these alien bad guys. Okay, so now it was flipping around. You're the alien bad guys, and Contra is busting up in your shit, and now you got to stop them. So you need a spray gun. You need a spray gun that is going to paint their face all across the kitchen wall. You need a
What
shotgun.
Roscoe is saying, you need to maintain distance. You need to keep them at a safe distance. You must remember that when somebody gets within 12 feet of you, they can close the ground very quickly. They can close 12 feet in less than a second, literally like right at 1 or 2 seconds. That means that while you're assessing the situation, they can come in. So this gun, this weapon, this distance weapon is to keep these people farther away from you. And
Okay, stop,
when you
stop, stop,
when you
stop,
train,
stop, 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 stop. I got to stop you right there. Here's the thing. Let's talk about psychology for a second. At long range,
yes,
combat is imminent. We are no longer negotiating. Your life is in danger.
yes.
Your children's life is in danger. Okay, so we're not negotiating shit no more. You have to switch into primal mode. All right. At this point, it is kill or be killed. Don't worry about trying to hurt this person. You want to hurt these people because they're coming to kill you or hurt you. All right. They are an obstacle towards your survival. So at this point, just
So first
eliminate.
things, hold it,
Hold on,
hold
hold
it,
on, no,
hold
no,
it.
no, no. Eliminate the whole idea about I don't want to hurt them. Get that out of your head right
Oh
now.
yes, that's
They
that's
got to
that's
they
what that's
they
where I'm
got to
going.
go. They
That's
got to go. They ass got to go.
you got to have that threat assessment is important. we're talking about, like I said, most of the stuff we're talking about is women. Women have a different set of rules than men do, and sometimes you guys are like, oh no. Once somebody makes it to your house, once they're outside of your house, you should be down on 911 already, and then you should grab your weapon. If they happen to get in your house, it's life or death, because especially if it's male on female. Usually the male's stronger, so you should, like I said, you do not want them to close distance. If they're within, that's what I'm saying. If they're within 12 feet, you should be trying to kill them. You should be grabbing knives. Or you should be creating a situation where you can escape with the mace and the pepper spray and the
Okay,
bat. Hit them
so
in the
that's
face
why
and get the hell out of
we're still
Dodge.
long distance. Okay, we're still long distance. So
Yes, yes.
if you do not have a shotgun, consider buying one. Listen, you may not be, a person that likes guns, but this is something that will save your life. You can get a cheap shotgun, a good one that we're not talking about used, just like from the store, from the sporting goods store, for about maybe 350, a pump action shotgun.
No, under $12, you can get a good shotgun.
But
Uh, and, and,
let's not set the bar that low because you want them to have
no, no,
something that's
no,
going to
no.
work.
Oh no, no, no. I'm saying for a shotgun, you can get a shotgun under 200 that is reliable. You can find Remingtons. You can find a lot of stuff
Yeah,
that's actually very reliable.
yeah.
And the reason my brother's picking a shotgun is because a shotgun is the best gun for home defense,
No
man,
doubt.
woman, or
No doubt.
child.
No doubt. And as a matter of fact, teach your family how to operate that shotgun. If you have a child that is older than 12 years old, take them outside and teach them how to shoot it properly. You're not teaching this kid to become a killer. You're teaching this kid to save you if you are busy fighting with somebody else. Okay?
You're teaching them an appreciation of life by doing this.
There you
The,
go.
the, the other thing that you must understand about the shotgun is that you have all these movies and all these TV shows that have shown you that if you shoot somebody with a shotgun, they're going to get blown away. Or you got Kevin Hart shooting a shotgun and flying out of his hand, or he's getting blown back. That's the shit that media does to scare you of the shotgun. The shotgun is the best gun for home defense because of that spray. Because you have a 1 foot pattern, you ain't got to aim as much. With a shotgun, the chances of you hitting somebody and incapacitating them is much greater. You don't have to be an expert shot. Women tend to grab a shotgun, shoot from the hip, point straight at the middle of the target and shoot. But I'm telling you, that shotgun, one shot is more likely to incapacitate somebody. When you have a gun that has a regular bullet, a smaller projectile, you might have to shoot somebody 2 or 3 times to stop them. A shotgun is a one-hitter quitter. It's one of these things that also you have double barrel shotguns, you have single barrel
Okay,
shotguns, you have
okay,
shotguns
okay,
that
okay,
have
okay,
magazine.
okay. Stop before you come on yourself. All right, let's just stop talking about guns for a second. Now, the thing is that there's other cool weapons that you can use that you can make from stuff you have laying around your house that are good for long range protection. For example, what I recommend you do is that in every room you should have an aerosol spray can. Also,
Yes.
somewhere around that room, you should also have a lighter. Okay? A lighter. Because what you're creating is a blowtorch. Now, a great place to hide stuff like that lighter would be in a potpourri bowl. Nobody looks in a potpourri bowl for anything. You can put a knife, you can put a gun in a bowl, and a dude will walk right past it every time. Because you know why? Because it's the
I,
most innocuous female soft yin thing around, and everybody underestimates.
look,
But listen, hang on.
it's
In that potpourri bowl, you can have a gun in there, you can have a knife in there, and you can have lighters in there
yes,
that you can
yes.
take out, and you can grab that aerosol while somebody's chasing you to their room, turn around, and burn their face off.
Look, what my friend is saying. This is the stuff you learn from old black guys. I got an uncle. He's in the 70s. He's like, I got a gun on every floor, and I got some gun. I got a gun almost in every room. Now, true enough, he has grandchildren. He has great grandchildren. So these are up on the fireplace. You see a picture, but you don't realize what's behind the picture.
Yep.
Or you have these heavy, strong magnets now where you can stick your gun to. So
Or
what he'll
why is
do
that
is
Bible so
cover.
thick? That's a thick Bible, man. Like, why?
Yes,
What is
yes.
in that Bible?
Or inside of a cabinet, he'll have one of those strong magnets at the very top where you can't see it, but he can reach it. So
Hey,
what
oh,
he's doing
but
is
listen, how do you hide something from a dummy? You put it in a book. You
in a
can you can have
book.
a
You put
bookcase
it,
with all kind of crazy, gnarly stuff in there.
look, there's several places for you to put knives. You know, again, we understand you have children, especially women. You know, you might be a single mom, you got a couple of kids, so you got to be careful. But you also got to understand the strategic nature of the situation. And what we're talking about is strategic. The other reason we named a shotgun, say you have an 8-year old, 7-year old, 5-year old, chances of one of them being able to pick up a shotgun and wield it, that's going to be a deterrent for them. So hopefully, but a shotgun is one of these things that it's really hard to hurt yourself or shoot yourself with it. That's the other reason. I know that's the size they put off for a person that's not a gun person, but the size is also a put off for the children and everybody else. The bottom line is what we're saying is that you got to place this mace someplace where people don't realize. You got to place it. You should put this. You should have some mace in the kitchen behind all your seasons. Excuse me. You should have some mace in the bathroom with your cosmetic stuff. It blends in, but you need to be able to have defend yourself because you don't know when the situation is going to arise. You don't know when it's going to happen. So that's what you're doing is preparing for the unexpected. Fortunately, you got to do that. And most of the time, you know as well as I do that you see the numbers that when you're attacked, rape, whatever, it's going to be somebody you know. More than likely, it's going to be somebody you know. It's not going to be just that random act. It's usually so I don't want to give a false number. 85% of the time is somebody you know. So those are the things that you're preparing yourself for. Is when somebody comes out of character or somebody decides to steal, or even at club life. You know, women are in the club. You should have some mace on you. I know they don't like it, but I had that mace up your boob or whatever. You know, make sure you got something on you for when that shit goes down. That's
Okay.
all we're saying.
Okay, next, let's talk about mid range combat. Now, in the mid range, you have several weapons you can use. The one a lot of people overlook, but it's often hanging on somebody's wall, is a sword. A sword
Yes,
or a battle axe. You can go back to the old times real quick. Ladies, do
that
what?
decoration is not
Listen,
decoration.
listen, listen. Thing is, it can be decoration or it can be hidden in a golf bag. Okay, and the thing is that you want a couple swords laying around the house just for times like this. And the reason being is because most people do not think about it and they won't see it coming. You go up against a person that's wielding a katana, your ass is gonna run. You do not want that kind of fight, okay? Especially if it's a sharp katana, because it will cut your ass up. But listen, ladies, don't be afraid of swords. Look at all these movies with Kill Bill and these film fatales and like chicks with blades. So hey, get you some swords and put them around the house in places not for decoration, places that people won't see them coming. And if anybody happens to see, be like, oh yeah, that was belonged to a boyfriend or that belonged to, one of my kids, blah blah blah, something like that, right? Thing is, you want these weapons like a katana, or you want a baseball bat, or you want something that's long enough that you can keep you an arm's length away from somebody else and still be a lethal threat. Now, duct tape said earlier, a baseball bat with like nails driven through it is an excellent weapon because you can bludgeon, you can strike, you can poke. There's all different types of movements that you can perform to defend yourself against an attacker. So those are two right there. There's other things you can do also. You can modify a broom. You can modify a broom to become a spear. There's all different types of weapons. All right, many different things you can do to create. You know what? And it never hurts to have a chainsaw in the closet indoors. Now you laughing, when you hear this, but a chainsaw inside the house
You
is is
start that
a
motherfucker,
hell
they will
of a
leave.
weapon. Yo, ain't
It's
nobody.
we're talking about hold it. We're talking about intimidation.
Yes.
Intimidation. That scares the shit out of somebody.
Bro,
This
a
bitch crazy.
chainsaw? This
This
bitch
bitch
got a
crazy.
chainsaw. This motherfucker came in with a chainsaw. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I ain't got nothing for that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Like,
for real. You gonna sword fight against a chainsaw? Bro, get your ass out of my house. Get out of here.
but what my brother is saying is that the right weapon is a deterrent as much as being lethal is one thing, but being a deterrent is another. A lot of times, a lot of women we talk about shotguns. If you shoot a shotgun, that noise, just the cocking will get rid of most people. But if you
Yes.
shoot it, that noise will drive away a lot of people. Like, oh hell, I
It's
don't want none of
loud.
this smoke.
Especially in the house you firing a gun indoors, or it's so loud and intimidating.
So like I said, hold up, keep going because we about to get a short, get short range reference. I want to discuss this some personal shit. So go ahead and
Okay.
get to short range.
Okay. Hey, hold on. We still got more long mid range. The reason why I'm talking
Mid
about
mid range, mid range.
The reason why I'm still talking about mid range is because I want you to walk around your house and I want you to look at things that you can hold in your hand and still be one arm's length away from a person and use that to hurt somebody. Okay, there are weapons that are laying around your house all over the place that we really don't think about. All right, but there's different things. I'm gonna tell you what. One thing that works really well is order a bicycle chain. Order a bicycle
Yes.
chain off of eBay or off Amazon. Bicycle chains are like it's like having brass knuckles on a string. If you pop somebody upside the head with a bicycle chain, when you hit them, you're gonna feel their skin slide on their skull. You're not getting up after you get popped with a bicycle chain. Okay, that shit
Hey,
hurts.
look, again, like I said, most of the stuff we're talking about women, men too, but statues. You bust a nigga in the head with a statue. So the biggest thing we're talking about is maintaining distance. So you got a couple of these Fabergé eggs and shit. Toss the
Throw that
motherfucker. Hit
shit.
that
Throw
person in
that
the face.
shit.
Hit the throat. Nothing. Yeah. Grab that little that statue of Nefertiti you got. Throw that right in somebody's face. Throw that at their nuts. You know, something heavy at somebody. A bowling ball at the nuts
Hey,
will cease a lot of
here's another thing. Let's
altercation.
talk about projectiles for a second. Another thing, if you have enough time, if these people are like in the house and you have enough time, get up some bleach and some balloons
Yes.
and fill those balloons up with bleach and start bombing the shit out of them because it's now biological warfare. So then you hit a person with bleach. If it doesn't get in their eyes, they're going to breathe it in. It's going to be so noxious,
Hey,
this chemical, that they cannot stand to be in your vicinity much longer.
simple rubbing alcohol. If you throw it in somebody's face, it becomes a deterrent. So we're talking about unorthodox ways of protecting yourself,
Guerrilla.
men and
This
women.
is guerrilla
Like I said,
warfare. Your house is Vietnam, and the intruders are America. So you're using everything around you to attack this person.
look, once somebody comes in your house, the game has already changed. See what a lot of black people, when we hear these stories about white people violating home invasion, and or they were just doing this. You must understand that what white people are talking about is the sanctity of their home. And a lot of black people, since we grew up in sometimes situations where we had a lot of family members in one home, we don't respect the sanctity. So when you get out on your own, if somebody breaks into your home, your apartment, or your car, all bets are off. You should already be in DEFCON 5. The negotiation should be like, hey,
Okay.
your life, not mine. Your life is at stake. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker for breaking in my
Hey,
car.
all
I'm gonna
right.
kill this motherfucker.
So here we go. CQB. Shit is too real now. Close quarter combat. All right. Now we have reached the point where all that other stuff has either failed or you woke up too late. You woke up too late, and this person is maybe 5 feet away from you. Maybe not even. No, no. They're three. They're pretty like close to you. At this point, you woke up and you grab the gun, the handgun that is under your pillow. You grab the knife that is under your pillow, or you grab the blade that is under your bed, or that's next to the nightstand, because you want to have something that close to you where you sleep that you can reach and stab or shoot the opponent. Now, you said you had a story.
Okay, yeah. I do. I train with my daughters. I've given like three of my daughters. I got four. I got five daughters. I gave three of my daughters stun guns, and I've had them to stun me on purpose so they can see how the stun gun works. Because what happens on TV, these kids think the stun gun will keep people off you, or they. I have two sets of.
Depending on the voltage, depending on the voltage.
Yeah, nah, I've been stunned with a lot of voltage, and so the point was, I gave one to my second oldest, and my her sister took it from her, and she tried to use it against this girl, and she tried to threaten her with it. And I'm like, that's not, you shouldn't do that. I had him stun me, and I had him stun me on purpose to see that, look, it hurts, it'll get me off you, but this is designed for you to run away. It's not designed for you to confront somebody, run up on them with a stun gun. This is not like Captain Kirk, and the stun gun eliminates them. After they stunned me, I grabbed them by the neck and showed them, like, when you stun somebody, they're not incapacitated the way you think. People just don't fall over. It hurts them, it gets them off. But if somebody's properly motivated, or somebody has bad intentions for you, especially fat people don't, the stunning don't work on fat people like it work on skinny people. So when I got stunned, they didn't realize I didn't fall. I just grabbed them and showed them, like, look, when you stun, you should be stunning somebody, hit them in the face, hit them in the neck, hit them in the chest, jab it, then get the fuck out of Dodge. You have to train that shit. And so, like I said, they laugh when stunning daddy, but also then I also had a daughter that was so afraid to stun me, she didn't want to hurt me. I'm like, baby, if you're driving home, it's late at night, and you see people walking towards you that ain't supposed to be there, you got to understand that you stop worrying about hurting another person. Something you mentioned earlier. Stop worrying about hurting another person. You have to get over that because they're there to hurt you. They're there to take your property, your life, or your body, whichever one suits them. And so you got to understand that. Don't worry about the effects on the other person in that situation. When you're in a situation like that, so the reason I made her stun me is she refused. I finally got her to stun me. I said, look, if you can stun me, you can stun anybody. You love me. So if a motherfucker that you don't like, a motherfucker that you don't know, comes up on you, you will not be afraid. So I let her stun me twice. That shit hurt. But I had to do that to teach my daughter that if you can do this, you can do it to anybody. It's necessary training. We're not training our children, our loved ones, families. So that's my story. I know it's anticlimactic, but yes, I
It
had
really
to
is.
make my little nerdy daughter stun me. I made her stun me. So,
Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about self defense on a martial arts level. So before you even reach this point of anybody breaking in your house, it's best for women in particular and men to at least take a few classes of jujitsu. The reason I recommend jujitsu is because 95% of all fights end up on the ground. And I recommend jujitsu because a smaller opponent can actually immobilize a larger opponent and defend themselves long enough to get up and get away. You can break their bones using leverage. Okay, so consider
okay.
taking jujitsu classes. All right, so
Another thing that you talked about years ago that a lot of people don't do. See, MMA has confused some people. Jiu-jitsu is great, but small joint manipulation, like in Aikido and all these, if you grab and break two fingers and twist them, you can control a larger person by doing that. Another thing that like they used to teach you in old school judo is that thumb to the eye. When if you stick your thumb in somebody's eye and rip the eye to the side, you'll rupture that optic nerve. You'll cause bleeding in the eye, or you'll even cause death by rupturing the optic nerve. But a straight thumb to the eye and twist, that
also,
what it
also,
is.
also, ladies, I'm gonna put you in a position real quick. I'm standing over you, and you're in the bed. You wake up and you see me. I'm going to just fall down and collapse all my weight on you and crush you and control you. What you need to do is roll over on your back at that moment. Wait. Bring your knees to under your chin and kick me in the face. All right? You
Yes,
you want to do
your
as
legs are
many your
strong.
legs are stronger than your arms and you can knock a man out by kicking him in the chin from laying on the ground. All right?
And
Practice
flail your legs, flail your
flaying
legs,
your
just
legs.
straight swimming.
Flaying your
Yeah,
legs,
just
yeah,
bow,
just
bow, bow.
bicycle moves.
Yeah,
Because what happens then is like you can actually like move out of that and manipulate your way into like getting out and standing up into a more better attack position, or where you can get your weapon. The whole point of this is to get your weapon because that weapon is going to do a lot of the work for you. But we're saying home defense
yes,
because
yes.
listen, martial arts is fine. Make sure you do get some of that training. No bullshit. But defend
But,
your
but, but,
home.
but hold it.
Wait. Defend your home with what you have in your home already or what you can get to make your home a better place, a more safer place. Now, hang on. So, we're talking about CQB now. What I also want to talk about is look around your home and see where you can hide somebody who is infirm, who is crippled, who is elderly, because they can use
Yes.
them as bait against you. So you want to have a safe
Uh,
room, hold on, a panic room, or anything like that where you can shove them under a bed and get them out of the way and then go to town on the motherfuckers who have invaded
I
your house.
hold on, Roscoe. Before we completely leave the close quarter combat, the reason I said you need to talk to an old school martial artist. Martial arts has become a sport now, so a lot of this shit is sport oriented. Is about you know immobilizing somebody, but the old school martial arts were about killing and really incapacitating. And so that's why I said when you talk to one of these old school guys, I get it. You watch the UFC, but what I'm saying, these old school guys have a couple of attacks, calf crushers, stuff like that was taken out of judo. These things will stop people and get them the fuck off you. Now, about what you're saying
Ankle
about,
locks, dude.
yeah, yes. That shit was taken out. So because of the brutality and because these martial arts have become sports, so you need to talk to one of these old crazy white guys, crazy Asian guys, one of these old black guys that you think is out of shape, and they'll tell you stuff that they used in Nam
Bro,
to fuck the motherfucker
listen.
up.
There's a move in hand-to-hand ninjutsu combat. It's called taijutsu. And in taijutsu, there's a wicked move, man. Like if you're on top of a person and they're on their back, you take their knee and you just put all your weight onto their rib cage and you just crush their rib cage, dude. Man, you will break off a couple of
Look,
those ribs, with enough pressure.
there's a move that I made up one time because I was wrestling my sensei who's much better than me, and what I did was I grabbed his rib cage, and because he's in great shape, no fat on him. If you compress somebody's rib cage with your hand, they can't breathe. And if you do it enough, you can actually probably break a rib.
Yep.
Little stuff like that. When people get so close quarter combat is different. Now back to what he was saying about a homemade safe room. Now earlier we talked about those things that you put against the door to wedge the door. What I did with my mom? My mom's out in the country, and she got a couple closets where they're like walk-in closets. That she made those into a safe room. I took that same bar that you put in your door, your home door. You could actually use that to make a safe room.
Dude,
I said
she could
she has
sit
a phone in
down, but
there.
she could sit down behind
Yes,
that wall with a shotgun on her lap and be like, "Come on, bring it."
yes, yes. My mom has the exact same bar that you're using for your door. She has one in the closet. So if she has one in her walk-in closet, she can wedge that against the door, buy time. Hopefully, she has a cell phone, call for help or whatever. But also, if you come in there will be a shotgun, there will be a 38, and there'll be a 25 waiting for you if you make it past that defense. So, but by putting that there, she bought herself time, but she also is in a situation where I can prepare my weapon for if that person decides to get crazy with it. Well, what my friend was talking about, what Roscoe was saying is that you need to look for, if you have a grandmother, great aunt, somebody you're taking care of, you need to be able to secure their safely. Put them in the bathroom, lock the door. If you got small children, gather your children in the bathroom, tell them to hide in the closets until the police come. But in the meantime, as a woman, as a man, you must defend yourself and defend your family. And so what he's talking about are these makeshift safe rooms. Look for these points. Now back to the other thing about close quarter combat. Where you fight somebody is just as important as fighting somebody. So if you got multiple attackers, you need to run. But the one thing you need to do is run to the bathroom. And what you do, or run to your bedroom. Because what you're doing is you're creating a pinch point. So as each one of those guys walk in the door, you need to light them up, each one in the face with that bat. What you're doing is that if you fight them in a room, you're not going to win. You got three attackers. But if you get a pinch point, a hallway, where you run down the hallway and they're coming, you can get one, one, one. What you're doing is assaulting each one of those guys one
You're
on one
slowing
as they
down
come.
the
Oh,
action. You're
yes,
slowing down the
yes.
action, which means that
You're,
you're
you're forcing.
controlling
You're
the
forcing.
pace of combat.
Yes, what you do, you're forcing those three people to become one person because then, as each one enters the room, you need to light them up with a gun. You need to light them up with your bat. You need to do a headshot to each one of them motherfuckers because in the other situation, you had three attackers, you had three targets. But by controlling where you fight at, you're creating one target, one target, one target. And you have a better chance. You hit them, hit them, hit them, then you jump out the window and get away. Hit them, hit them, hit them. And the other thing is, we're not trying to make you kill somebody. We're trying to create a situation where you can either eliminate the threat or get away from the threat. So
Okay,
these
so
things
here's
are
another thing.
efficient.
Here's another thing to consider. Also, you want to use the element of surprise. If somebody is in your house, and say you're in the basement, and they're coming down the basement, and you have stairs that lead to the basement, and they're naked stairs, which means that you can come around the back of the stairs and take their legs out.
And hide.
No, no,
Yes,
you know
yes.
you can take their legs out. You can hide and take their legs out from the back. You can shoot their ankles off. You can stab them in the ankles, right, and they'll fall down the stairs.
And that Achilles tendon, you slice
You
that,
slice
I
that,
don't care who you are,
they're done.
they're coming down.
You're done.
Done.
So that's what I'm saying. Like this, look around your house. Look around different parts of your house and find points of attack. Find the pinch points. Find places where you can like force them into and slow down the speed of combat. Find places where you can attack from un unknown. Like find places in your house where you can use the element of surprise and they won't see you coming. Attack from above. Attack from below. You got to find these places because you're going to need them if somebody is attacking you.
Now, hey, okay, we're going to talk about guns real quick. The type of gun, your location, your body size, male, female.
All that matters.
Um, yes. So, like I said, one of the best guns for self-defense is a shotgun. But now, if you're a female and that shotgun's too big, you're like, I just can't deal with it. I always recommend the first gun a woman should buy should be a revolver. Now, a revolver, that's what you call a wheel gun. That's the one where you got 5 or 6 shots, maybe 7. You put them in. I also recommend the 357. 357, you got stopping power, you got
But wait,
penetration.
stop,
Um,
stop, 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 bruh. You, hang on, hold on, stop, stop, stop. You went from a wheel gun all the way up to a 357. Slow down, okay? You're getting too excited. The thing is that
No,
first of
no,
all, you have to explain to people that they have to work their way up to larger caliber weapons. Okay, start with a
no,
small
no,
caliber. Wait, man, wait.
no.
What I recommend is that you go to the gun range and you start with the lowest caliber that you can handle. That just start with a 22 or a 38 and work your way up the range, because what you'll find is you have to apply more dynamic tension as you go up higher in the caliber scale. So what he's telling you is accurate. Like the 357 is a fantastic gun to kill people that invade your home, but start small.
No,
No. Wait. It's like exercising. Okay, shooting guns is
no,
like exercising. You have to like start with like a light weight that you can manage, and then you work your way up to a heavier weight.
no. That's not where I was going with it. The reason I picked a 357 is people think a 357 is this big bad gun, and it's not. Remember, a 357 is just a 38 special with maybe with a quarter inch more
But
bullet
it
behind
has
it.
a kick to it,
I
though,
do.
man.
Now that's why I'm explaining to you. If don't get a snub nose 357, get a 357 with the barrel. The more weight that gun has, the less recoil it's going to have. Our homeboy, his wife's first gun was a 357, and here's what happened. I told him, I said, look, you want to get a gun for your wife, get a revolver for two reasons. One, it won't jam. 30, and also if you get a 357 shoots 38 special and 38 long, so you can actually use different bullets. And like you're saying,
Here
if
is the thing with that. Bitch, you better be good with that gun, okay? Because you got 6 shots to get it right. So, which is why I'm telling you to take your monkey ass to the range and
oh,
practice.
hold it. Practice and training is important, but you must remember what the three. When you look at a 357, you must understand what a 357 was designed for. The 357 was designed for highway patrol. What happened was they needed a gun that could penetrate. The 38 special would not penetrate a car door. A 357 will penetrate a car door and still kill somebody on the other side. So the 357, and we ain't talking about 44 mag, we ain't talking about this. Now, the problem is these numbers are deceiving. So you hear a 44, you think of 44, oh, 44 ACP. No, a 44 is a big slow gun, a big slow bullet, excuse me. The 44 was designed to stop a small person or immobilize a man, but it doesn't have penetration. So a 357 will actually have more penetration than a 44. So these numbers are deceiving. So when people hear numbers, you think a bigger number, you think a bigger no. You must understand what a 357 is for. So as a woman, something that you learn from people in prison. What do guys in prison do different? They shoot through obstacles. So if somebody is on the other side of that door, you can shoot your 357. It's going to kill them. If somebody's on the other side of that wall and they're using that wall as cover, shoot
Listen,
through the wall.
listen, no. Before you start like pulling the trigger, talk to them, yell at them, find out where the voice is coming from. Put your gun on the wall and
Verbal
blast
judo,
that point.
verbal judo. Find out where they at. Control the situation with your voice, then eliminate the threat with your gun.
So,
By yelling at them, and they're going to yell back, or they're going to talk shit, or like, man, you little dick motherfucker, bitch, who you calling it? You know where they at? Punch them,
okay.
shoot them.
All right, all
So
right. So listen, here's the thing. Now, let's move away from all that and let's talk about tactics. All right. Now, if you live alone, then all the planning is down to you. But if you live with others, if you have roommates, if you have family members, if you have children, you have to sit down with them and you have to have a talk. And you have to tell them, listen, this home is our castle. We don't have a moat around our castle, okay? So therefore, we have to protect this castle. And there's ways that we're going to do this, and we're going to talk about that. But the thing is, have this conversation and tell them, listen, we're going to have a practice. We're going to practice, all right? We're going to practice a bad guy coming in the house. What do you do when a bad guy comes in the house while you're sleeping? What do you do when the bad guy comes in the house while we're eating dinner?
yes,
What do you do
yes.
when the
Have
bad
those
guy
discussions.
what,
Have
what do
those
you do
talks.
when the bad guy comes in and we're watching a movie together eating popcorn? You got to have these talks. And this type of training, these types of discussions are so important because look, you can have all this shit we talked about, but if you are not capable, if you are not willing, if you are not ready to go through the motions to do this, then it's not going to work. You just wasted all your money on all this tactical gear, all these weapons, and it's not doing shit for you. The thing is, you have to
I
be.
look. I
Hold on,
look.
wait. You have to be mentally prepared to go this route. So, here is something you can use. Put this feather in your cap when it comes to attacking people that are attacking you. Take away their humanity and make them zombies. Make them zombies because everybody is desensitized to zombies. When you see your opponent as the undead or something that has of no consequence to you, fire away.
Look, this is something that people don't. This is advice I got to people, and you got a bunch of pacifists out there. You got a bunch of liberals. I hate guns, and or you have black people that live in cities. My cousin died with a gun, but I do advise many of you guys to take a gun course, especially take your concealed carry course. I live in Nebraska, so it's different. But part of the concealed carry is the first 6 hours of, excuse me, the first 4 hours of training are the laws governing the concealed carry, when to use it, when you can't use it. The reason I'm saying that is because you need to find out what the laws are in your state. So if you do have to engage somebody, when you can shoot, when you can't shoot, when you can bodily harm. You always hear stuff in the media about, well, that white guy shouldn't have shot that black guy. Like in Tennessee, well, in Memphis anyway, not the whole state, but in Memphis, you cannot shoot somebody just defending property. Like if somebody's breaking into your car, you can't shoot them. But if they're putting bodily harm on you, you can shoot them. These little things right here, you need to know what the laws are in your state. I get it. You may never purchase a gun, or you may never care. But if you take your concealed carry class, if you take that class, you're going to learn, when you could carry. Like you can carry at an airport, but you can't take it inside the airport. Or you can carry at the church if you're a security member of the church. You see a lot of these churches say that, oh, we have a security force. What they're saying is we got concealed carry members, and by making them part of the security force, they can carry in our church. Uh, you can actually you can have your gun in your car at a sporting event, a high school sporting event, but you can't take it in the high school. But that sounds corny, but little shit like that, you need to know where you can protect yourself at. You need to know what you can do. You need to know when you can and can't shoot. So what we're saying is that it's kind of hard to find those laws just on your own. But if you take these protection classes and these concealed carry classes, most of those have that as part of the class of
Okay.
the laws that govern a particular state or
All right.
municipal principality. As
So
cities are different.
check it out. So here's the thing. One last small little note I want to add to this is that we're not going to go deep into prepping, but I want to say is that given the situations that we've been put up against in the year 2020, you need to have a silent generator, 1,000 watt or 2,000 watt silent Honda generator, an inverter. The reason why I recommend this is because when the power goes out, you can turn this generator on, and a gallon of fuel is going to run about 4 to 6 hours depending on the electrical load. Now, what you can do is you can charge your phones on that. You can hook up electrical appliances. You can hook up a lot of different things to this that you need to help you, extend civilization a little bit further than what everybody else who doesn't have it further. So the thing is that like you want to have this generator, and like I said, a silent generator. The reason why you want a silent generator is because you don't want to give away your position if nobody has electricity, nobody has water, and nobody has food. Okay. Another thing is like don't turn your lights on. Don't turn on any lights that can be seen from the front of the house in a situation like that. Okay. If you're gonna have lights on, have them in the basement or in the back of the house, the part of the house that is not exposed. Don't turn the lights on at nighttime. Okay, that way nobody was going to see that you have electricity while nobody else has electricity, and you won't deal with the home invasion situation of people who are hungry looking for food. All right. Number two, you need to have at least 1 month's worth of food. Okay, and listen, I'm talking about the way your folks used to do it back in the day. They had a root cellar, or maybe you can't
Yes,
afford to
yeah,
have a root cellar.
yes.
If you
I
can,
had a pantry full of dry goods,
if you
full of
can if you can
ingredients.
have a root cellar, that's great. But if you can't, have a pantry. Pantry. Listen, that's the whole reason you have a pantry is because it's backup food to take you through the winter, to take you through the hard times. So you need to have some canned food that's palatable that you want to eat. Okay, and that's up to you to fill in that blank. Now,
Hold it, a good old fashioned freezer. Don't forget that the old chest freezer that your dad or
stop,
had
stop,
in the garage
stop,
or in the
stop,
basement.
stop, 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 stop. What good is that freezer if you don't have power? So I'm talking about dry foods. So the thing is you want dry foods that are in a can. You want ramen noodles. You want crackers. You want chips. Stuff that you can put like in a Foot Locker and you can keep in there for about 3 to 6 months. Okay, that you know that like in 3 to 6 months you got to take that stuff out of there because it ain't gonna be no good when the flood comes and you're gonna everything is going down the street. So just keep all this in mind. So, yeah, that's another thing that when you put your food away, know the expiration date on that food and know that you can eat it beyond the expiration date, but don't get crazy. You can't go too far beyond the expiration date. So The thing is, you also may have to rotate the food in and out of
Yes,
your
yes,
perishable
that's
food
true.
in and out of your
Agree.
stash. You gotta rotate that food in and out just so it doesn't spoil on you when the shit hits the fan. So the whole reason why I brought up the generator and the food, the month's worth of food, is because we are in a crazy ass time now where anything can happen, and you gotta defend your home, but you gotta feed your family too.
But hold on, you had two good points, but I want to expand on those points. First point was about the generator. There's levels to this generator shit.
Yes, it is.
First level is the first level is like, okay, say you're in college. I have a couple of jump boxes for my car that I charge up, and they're good for 90 days. But you can also plug your cell phone outlets. You can even plug a TV into one or two of them. So if you're on a small budget, spend the $200 and get you just a good old fashioned jump box where you plug it
It's
in,
called an inverter.
you charge it for uh, whatever it has inverter on it, but you plug it in, you charge it up for 12 hours, and it's good for 90 days. You jump your car, charge your cell phone, run a TV. Number two, what my brother was talking about was a mid-range generator where you have a gas generator, but then you also have a Gendrac, which is a natural gas generator. So, my mom's out in the country, and a lot of people out there have Gendrac. So when they have a power failure, and they have gas tanks because they use natural gas. Without get natural gas, we'll go to this generator and do the whole house. So I got two cousins with those. So when the shit hits the fan and they are power loss out there, they all go to one cousin's house. Now back to what you were saying about the freezer. That doesn't work. I'm saying if you have a generator, you plug your freezer into your generator because that's going to give you at least a week or a month worth of food. Also, what I'm saying is that you have to expunge on what you have. And like I said, when you do the generator thing, you got budgets. I understand that, but Y2K taught us anything. That generators do.
Hey,
Um,
so hold on. One other thing. This is a beginner mistake a lot of people make. Don't put the generator inside while it's on. There are
yeah,
noxious
the
fumes
exhaust.
coming from the exhaust, and you don't need to breathe those fumes. So make sure when you're running the generator, it is outdoors, okay? That you're not breathing that shit in. In closing, as we wrap this up, uh, we talked about a lot of things that will aid you in protecting your home. And some of which you'll come up on your own, and that's fantastic. We want you to be creative in this aspect. But we talked about the perimeter of the house, the on the property itself, the front door, the back door, the windows, inside the house, and how to escape, and how to defend yourself with weapons inside the house as well. And a drone. Consider getting a drone so you can see above your house, what's going on and how you can get the hell out of there, or if anybody's coming for you.
Look, you're responsible for your own well-being. You can't depend on the police. You can't depend on the government. You can't depend on nobody. You have to depend on yourself. So your mental and physical well-being is your responsibility. Just be aware of it. We're not saying become a doomsday prepper, but we're saying be realistic. That if anything with this COVID situation, it taught us that you can run out of food. You can run out of toilet paper. You need to be a little bit more stingy when it comes to these kind of things, and you also got to protect yourself from physical threats if they do happen. Uh, it's just the reality we live in. Making more laws won't protect you from a lawless person.
That's true. That's a very good point. Again, look around your house. See where you can attack from, where you can hide your loved ones if you don't have a closet to stick them in, and also what you can make weaponize out of like the objects around your house, and consider modifying the front door, like where around your front door you can hide weapons. Again, to all the single ladies out there, or the women who don't have a man around, make sure you arm that front door to protect yourself, but also learn some basic self-defense if you do find yourself overpowered by a larger opponent, because there is a science of fighting that will help you to gain the advantage and protect yourself and to escape. The whole point is to escape and get them out of there. You know, don't let these people break into your house and have their way with you. And that's the whole point of this show, is to prevent that from happening to you. In closing, I want to say, protect yourself at all times. Peace.
Holla back.